Hey everybody, it's James here from GoodGuitarist.com, and in today's lesson I'm going to show you how to play Jailhouse Rock by Elvis Presley, by the King, and I'm going to show you how to play it in a couple different ways. First, I'm going to show you how to do it in a really simple strumming style, just so you can strum some guitar and sing along and do that whole thing. And then I'm also going to show you how to do some of the lead elements, so that if you have a friend and you want to play the song together, one of you can strum it, and then the other one of you can add some extra little stuff to, make it sound a lot more fun. If along the way you find you need any extra help, I have a bunch of resources designed to help you learn how to play songs just like this one. There's links to all that stuff down below. My free ebook, beginner's course, check those out if you need any extra help. Otherwise, we're just going to jump right in. And whether you want to do this strumming style or do the lead stuff, they both start off with the same thing. They both start off with this. Now, what I'm doing there is pretty straightforward. I'm playing a power chord. You might call these 5 chords as well. Basically, I'm putting down my first finger on the 6th fret of the A string. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then I'm going to put my ring finger down on the next string at the 8th fret. So there's a bit of space between them. Adjust your hand accordingly. Get your thumb in the right spot so that this feels good. And then we're going to put our pinky finger underneath that finger on the 8th fret of the G string. So 6, 8, 8. And we're going to do a downstroke with that shape. Then we're going to bring it 1 fret higher and play it again. And when I go to strum this one, you'll see that I'm strumming all the strings, but just 3 of them are ringing. And that's because my first finger here, I have it curved in such a way that I'm just getting that one note and the rest of the strings are muted. Now, that might be a bit tricky for you, so at this point, I recommend taking it back a step. Let's just do this. We're going to place our first finger so that the tip of it is just underneath this string. So this string is kind of like resting on top of your finger, and that'll mute that string. And that way, when you go to strum it, you don't have to worry about dodging this string. That's pretty unrealistic to be like trying to dodge that string every time. It'll really prevent you from letting loose and getting into the feeling of the song. So let's just use some technique. Use the tip of this finger here to mute the thickest string. So that takes care of this string. Now, as far as not getting those strings, just kind of do a shorter stroke, We're really just aiming for A and D for those 2 strings. This one is just an insurance policy, just in case we accidentally get it. If it comes out, it'll still sound good. It won't be like making, extra notes that we don't want. So, just like that. Just try that. Go really slowly. 3, 4. And once you have that, all we have to do is figure out when those 2 downstrokes are. And if we count out loud, it's quite simple. It goes like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So it's on the and after 3 that we do the first one. 1 and 2 and 3 and then we slide it up and on beat 1. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So just work that out a bunch of times, just getting that much of it. Just going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And you can always count that out yourself and go as slow as you need to go to make sure that you're doing these things nice and steadily and at the right time. And then all we have to do, once we have this part, is add that. And that is on the exact same rhythm, but just every other time. So it's like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. It's kind of like hearing it and trying to put it all together. It's kind of tricky to do right away, but just take a look at it and see what I mean. On the and of 3 and then on 1, we have this. And then on the next and of 3 and the next one, we have. Let's try this super duper slowly, counting out loud and just lining everything up. You know, this is going to be the most challenging part of the song. That's why we're doing it first, so that we can really work on it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And when we do it that slow, that's great for getting the coordination, getting it all together, but let's speed it up a little bit just so we can start to feel the groove. You can always just kind of listen to this just to get an idea of what's going on. Here we go. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Cool. So when we actually put that in the song, we do it 4 times and then we move on to the next part. And the next part is different depending on whether you're playing the rhythm part or the lead part. Let's take a look at the rhythm part first. It's just a few chords and some strumming. We have an A chord, an E chord, and a B7 chord. And those 3 chords come together as a package in many songs, a lot of country tunes. So it's a really good idea to work out the switches between them. You know, practice going from A to E, going from A to B, and then from E to B. Now just practicing that a whole bunch, those 3 switches. And if you need more help with exactly that kind of thing, that's what I do in my complete beginner course. I'll have a link down below for that if you want to just check it out and see if it's going to help you, you know, with your switches and with your counting and strumming and all that stuff. Anyways, once you've familiarized yourself with those 3 chords, we can work out the switches. We would start off on A. Let's do downstrokes only, counting along 3 4 2 2 3. Then we go to E. Another measure, 1, 2, then we go to B, 1, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4, E, 2 measures at E, and that's it. Let's do that one more time together, nice and slow, starting off on A, counting out loud, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3. We switch to E. Then we go to B7. To A. 2, 3, 4. And we can add a really simple strumming pattern to this. It goes like this. I'll do it a little bit slower. 3 and 4 and that is one of the more common strumming patterns. It's just root, down, up, down, up. And when I say root, it's just a little strum. So it's like a little strum, and then down, miss, up, down, up. And I recommend, if you're having trouble with this, learning how to say it first. Just saying down, down, miss, up, down, up. Starting with that. Down, down, miss, up, down, up. Down, down, miss, up, down, up. Just saying it over and over again. Once you can say it, that means you've memorized it. And then you're basically just going to tell your arm what to do. You're going to tell your arm down, down, miss, up, down, up. And you don't have to do it that fast or in time yet. You can just go through the motions, just going down, down, miss, up, down, up, you know, at your own pace. And when you're comfortable with that, then you can start kind of doing it a little bit more in time. Down, down, miss, up, and then trying to get it a bit faster. And then adding that root at the beginning. Root, down, up, down. It just makes it sound a bit better. Root, down. Just a little stroke. Root, down. And it's pretty straightforward, just applying that strumming pattern to those chord shapes. But before we do that, we have to consider, we're gonna, after strumming, we have to get back into that part. So at the very end of this thing, let's just practice that. We're on our E chord. We're gonna do our pattern one time completely. Root, down, up, down, up. And then we're just gonna go root, down, and we're gonna get ready to go back to this part. So root, down, 3, down, 2. Let's try that. Root, down, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Root, down, 3, and 2, 3, 4. Root, down, 3. So now that we have all the components, let's try putting together one entire round of this tune. You know, we're gonna start off with this, and then we'll go into the strumming, and then back into that, and then back into the strumming. We just go between those two bits. You can always just watch this part and rewind it if you're not quite sure what to do yet. But let's just try it out nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3. 2. Cool, so that's the rhythm part, and at this point you can play and sing the song and it'll sound great. You know, you could perform the song like this. But if you have a friend who plays guitar, or just for your own purposes you want to learn the lead bit, let's take a look at that. We're going to start off the same way. It starts off with doing all that 4 times, and then instead of going into the chords, we go into this. So what we're doing there is kind of like a blues riff or like a blues bass line, and you'll hear that really clearly on the original recording. It's like 85% of the, you know, of the rhythm section, and to do it isn't that bad. It's actually just the same shape. It's kind of like a chord shape, except this is like a riff shape. We start off on the A string, hitting it 2 times, and then we're going to put our ring finger on the 4th fret. So that's the first couple motions. And then we're going to go to the D string at the 2nd fret. We'll play that one 2 times. And then we go 4, 2. And I do this using downstrokes only, but you can go down up if you prefer that. But once we get to the D string, we go 2, 2, 4, 2. Just try that a few times. 2, 2, 4, 2. And when you come up to 4, leave this finger down. So many people lift it and it just adds a step. It just makes it so you have to put it back down. So just leave it down. If you're having problems reaching this note without lifting up this finger, it means your thumb's in the wrong spot. So get your thumb so it's kind of like in the middle there, and just practice doing that a few times, leaving your first finger down, going 2, 2, 4, 2, 2, 2, 4, 2, over and over again to get used to it. Then we can do the whole thing, starting on the A string, O, 4, 4, 2, 2, 4, 2, over and over again. I want you to pause the tape, try to get it once. One time through. And then try to get it flowing. So you can just loop it, doing it a whole bunch of times in a row. And if we take a look at the chords, over the A chord, that's when we do that. We start on the A string, because it's an A chord, we're gonna start on A for our lead part as well. And we do it 2 times on A. Then we come to the E chord, and for the E chord, we're going to do the exact same thing, but we're just going to shift it all over so that we're starting on the thickest string, on the E string for the E chord. And we do the same thing, but everything's just been moved over. So now on the thickest string, O, 4, 4, we go to the A string, 2, 2, 4, 2. Same riff, you should already be good at it if you can play the other one. It's just on a different couple strings. We do that now once for each of the E chords. There's 2 E chords here. And then over the B7 chord, we're already on our first note. This is the note B. It's the 2nd fret of the A string. We do it 2 times. And then here we have to slide our ring finger up to the 6th fret. You can just make a leap of faith if you want and just jump straight to it, but I think it's a bit easier to go. You'll kind of place it down early and just get up there. 2, 2, 6, 6. Then we go to the D string. 4, 4, 6, 4. And this technically is the same shape as this, except instead of the open strings being there, we have to actually press the open strings. We have to press that first one. So 2, 2, 6, 6, 4, 4, 6, 4. Try that one like a million times. That's the trickiest one probably. We do that on B7 just once. Then we go back to A. And then we go back to E. Once, and this last time, just like with the chords, how we had to stop early, we have to stop the riff early. We get this far. And once we get to that note, we go. And our first finger's already on the correct string, so we just kind of have to slide up to the 6th fret. So once again, those last 2 measures of E, we do it once completely, and then we stop partway through. Get back into the beginning of the tune. So that's the part that I would practice, is just going. It's a really fast jump. If it's giving you trouble, you could always stop even sooner. You can just go. Just only play the first 4 notes. O, 4, 4, move up. Doesn't sound as good, but if it makes it work for you and you can actually play the song that way, I recommend doing that. You can always go back later when you're a little bit better and you can add that extra note. It's not a big deal. And now that we have all the lead elements down, let me show you how to put it all together. We would start off with this thing 4 times. And then after that, we go do our A twice. Then we do E twice. And then for the turnaround, 1 time on B, 1 time on A. And then near the end, 1 complete time on E, and then we're going to stop part way so we can go back to our intro bit. So take some time with that, working your way through it, and when you're ready, we can play it all together a couple times through, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Fourth time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool, so those are two ways to play Hound Dog by Elvis Presley. Either one of them works with singing. One of them's a bit more impressive, has all those lead elements and everything, but they're both really valid, both really useful. And before we go, one little tidbit, that bass line that we just did, you could do that on any blues song. So you just take a look at the regular blues chord changes. You have E, A, E, E, A, E, E, B, A, E, E. I don't know, I'll write it down on the side there. But you have those changes and you can kind of just apply it to it. You see an E chord, that means we start with the one that starts on the E string. You see an A chord, we start here. And you see a B chord, you start here. So you'll definitely get a lot of mileage out of all the components of this tune. Now, if you need any extra help, don't forget to check out my resources. You can also ask me down below in the comments. You could even email me, info@goodguitarist.com. Whatever you need, I'm definitely here to help you out. Other than that, hope you have a fun time practicing, and I'll see you soon.